Hello again, everybody. It's Les East along with Brian Allee-Walsh, NewOrleans.com. It's Wednesday. Saints have just completed their first day of full preparation for Sunday's game against the St. Louis Rams at the Superdome. Remember, kick for that game is 3:05, so don't come early. Let's go right to the injury report, then we've got some other things that we can discuss.
Yeah, well, the big news was that Pierre Thomas practiced fully. I believe that's the first time he's practiced fully since he was hurt in week 3. So the ankle is getting much better, and Sean Payton said he expected him to be active on Sunday, and Pierre really didn't leave any wiggle room. He pretty much said he's playing, and that the coaches had told him, you know, we're not even going to ask you how you feel the rest of the week. So it looks like he will, in fact, be back and ready to play. He said he's working overtime on his conditioning and actually doing some drills to absorb some hits, to just do what he can to simulate game action to try and get himself ready. Obviously, he won't be where he was prior to the injury this week, but he's doing his best to get as close as he can. And we expect to see him on the field Sunday.
Yeah, we got a little indication of that this morning when we learned that they made some roster changes. They placed running back Liddell Betts on injured reserve with a neck injury. Liddell had missed the last 2 games with that specific injury, and then they signed linebacker Kawika Mitchell of recent with the Buffalo Bills, but he also earned a Super Bowl ring with the 2007 New York Giants. So Kawika joins this team, and so with obviously healthy Pierre Thomas probably made it easier for them to go ahead and place Liddell Betts on season-ending injured reserve. So now they're back to a full complement of backs with Reggie Bush, Chris Ivory, Julius Jones, and now Pierre Thomas. So they're full go going down the stretch here, Les.
Yeah, in fact, they are, you know, across the roster, they're just about as healthy as they're going to get. At this point, obviously, some of these guys will continue to work their way back into game shape. But, you know, all the key players who were missing 3, 4, 5 weeks ago appear to be back now, and it's perfect timing for the stretch run. And we should also mention that Sean Payton said they had officials working practice today. The primary reason was so that they could whistle the team for penalties. They had 11 penalties for 100 yards the other day. So they wanted to bring an officiating crew in to point out what would have been penalties in the practice session today, just to make the players more cognizant of what they need to do to clean that up.
You know, when we've taken a look at the final quarter of the season, that's essentially what they're approaching now, is with the beginning of the Rams game on Sunday. They play 4 playoff contending teams coming down the stretch here, and starting with the St. Louis Rams, who share the lead in the NFC West with Seattle. Both are 6-6. After this game, they go to play Baltimore, which is 8-4, and trailing the Steelers in the AFC North. Then, of course, the biggie on Monday night, December the 27th at Atlanta against the Atlanta Falcons. That is probably for all the marbles in the division, at least we think so. And then, you know, they can't forget then they close the season at home against Tampa Bay, which, you know, is on the outside looking in at a wild card spot right now. But, you know, Raheem Morris has his team playing well, and I got to believe they're going to be ready to play to close the season here. So this, you know, who'd have thought that their last 4 opponents here is probably the strength of the schedule for the Saints?
Yeah, and part of that's because they played a lot of games early on against teams that did not live up to expectations. Minnesota and San Francisco and Dallas and Cincinnati were all teams, when the schedule came out, you thought would be playoff teams or playoff contenders. Didn't materialize, so the schedule to this point has been relatively easy. It looks like it's going to be a lot tougher the last 4 games. You know, we're not sure exactly what the Atlanta game is going to mean, except one thing we can be pretty sure of: the Saints cannot win the NFC South without winning that game. They're going to need some help and more work beyond just winning that game, but they have to have that game if they're going to try and win the division. And I wonder if Tampa Bay might be even more dangerous if they were to be mathematically eliminated by then, because they would just be playing free and easy and loose and try and spoil the Saints season. And coming on a short week after that big game in Atlanta, that's a really dangerous spot.
Well, we're going to take a cue from Sean Payton and his team, and we're going to take it one game at a time here, Les.
That's a good idea, Brian.
So for Les East, Brian Allee-Walsh with NewOrleans.com. Aloha, everyone.
Good.